All right, everybody, I have to make a short video. I can't go too long because my phone keeps saying storage full, storage full. So I'm going to have to make short videos, and we're going to have to talk about this subject. I don't know how long, but I'm just going to do an introduction video. I want to talk about angelic DNA. Angelic DNA. Now, you have another word that's being used today. You've got DNA and you have also RNA. The word angel is in Greek angelos, angelos, angelos. It's spelled, it looks like agelos, but it's pronounced angelos, angelos. That's where we get the word angel from, agelos. And angelos translates into messenger. So we're going to be talking about DNA, RNA. If you put the word messenger in front of it, what do you get? Something that's being talked about a lot today. See, what they, we'll talk about what they are trying to do is introduce people to getting used to hearing of something. It's common. It's just messenger. Take DNA, remove the D, put an R. Jesus says in Matthew chapter 24 that something's going to happen during tribulation. He says in verse 37 that as were the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. We're talking about the physical return of Christ Jesus, because he said the Son of Man, the coming of the Son of Man. Son of Man, when you read Son of Man, it is his physical body we're talking about. Son of God would be the spirit in that body. So it's a visible return, right? We call it the second coming. This isn't the rapture. This isn't in Greek harpazo, being snatched away. This is actually, after all that, when he comes back and returns with his saints. So there's going to be something going on when he returns during this tribulation. For as in those days before the flood, we're talking about the flood of what? Noah. He says they were eating and drinking, marrying, given in marriage until the day when Noah entered into the ark, and they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away. He says, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. We get a picture of who they are if we turn to Genesis chapter 6, because Jesus was talking about Noah and the flood, so we get a picture of who they are. Verse 2 says, the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive, and they took as their wives any that they chose. And what happened when they took the daughters of man? These sons of God we can call messengers. It says that Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of man and they bore them children. So these children are called Nephilim. In today's language, Nephilim would be like saying hybrid. They were known to be giants. They came from the fallen. In fact, Nephilim means giants or of the fallen. Giants of the fallen. They had a reputation. It says that they were men of renown, famous. They had a name for themselves. It also calls them Gibor in Hebrew, which is mighty. They were mighty, Gibor. This is all in Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 through 4. So God brings a flood. See, it's talking about they. They took wives for themselves as they chose. And then you have somebody else that talks about it. A man named Enoch. And Enoch really is interesting. Enoch, what is it, chapter 7? You know, Enoch opens up the book saying that these writings are for those who will be living in the day of tribulation. That's verse 2 of Enoch chapter 1. And then he continues to say, it's written not for this generation, but for a remote one, which is for to come, which means it's going to be in the future. Okay? A day of tribulation. Jesus in Matthew chapter 24, he's talking about tribulation. Do you know, by the way, that Jude, there's a quote in the book of Jude about Enoch. Jude chapter 1, verses 14 and 15 can be found in Enoch chapter 1, verse 9. Jude says Enoch said this, and then you go to and he said, in fact, I'll just read it to you. I don't have much time though. I've got to make this short. Otherwise my channel, my video is going to cut off. I'll make it quick. First, Jude says, he describes who these sons of God were. If you don't believe that the sons of God were angels, he says in verse 6, Jude 1:6, and the angels, the angelos, the messengers, who did not stay within their own position of authority, but left their proper dwelling, he has kept in eternal chains under gloomy darkness until the judgment of the great day. So those particular ones that did that deed, they're bound in chains. But Genesis says that the Nephilim were not only on the earth in that day, but they came back. So now we have other angels that got involved in this and did some stuff to create hybrids as well. Nephilim, hybrids. Just get used to saying common words. Just like Jesus, he spoke in parables. You and I were going to speak in code, right? When I say angel DNA, the code is messenger. You can say DNA, or you can even take off the D and put an R, and what do you get? Something that they're trying to get the world used to hearing over and over again, so that when they do take it, they're going to be like, oh yay, this is easy. We've heard all about this. We're familiar with this. Jude, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. It was also about these angels that Enoch, the seventh from Adam, he prophesied, saying, behold, the Lord comes with 10,000s of his holy ones to execute judgment on all and to convict all the ungodly of all their deeds of ungodliness that they have committed in such an ungodly way, and of all the harsh things that ungodly sinners have spoken against him. And then you get Enoch. Where did Jude get that? I can't find that in the Bible. Jude said Enoch said these things. Well, listen to Enoch chapter 1, verse 9. And behold, he cometh with 10,000s of his holy ones to execute judgment upon them all, and to destroy all the ungodly, and to convict all flesh of all the works of their ungodliness which they have ungodly committed, and all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Wow. Jude just quoted Enoch. So if you think that Enoch is a wicked book to talk about, well then talk to Jude, Jesus' half-brother, and say, dude, you shouldn't have put that in there. It's a bad book. Enoch's like a history book, you guys. And there's others in the Bible that quoted from it as well. So if we go to Enoch chapter 7, and I tell you what happened. These angels, see, Satan's known in Ezekiel 28, the king of Tyre. He's known for his trading skills. He trades something. I'll give you this if you give me that, right? The angels, they know those skills, these fallen ones. It says, and all the others, this is Enoch chapter 7, verse 1, and all the others together with them. Jesus was talking about they. So we've got these they or them in here. They took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one. And they, we got the word they, they began to go into them and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments and cutting of roots and made them acquainted with plants. Now you got to figure all this stuff out. Oh, so what did they do? Okay, ladies, this is the women. Charms are ornaments like necklaces, bracelets, and even objects used for magic. So they offered them these little glittery things. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. Offer them all these things. What else do they offer? We're going to teach you magic spells. That's what enchantments are, magic spells. Cutting of roots. Get you acquainted with plants so that you can make things like drugs, right? Pharmaceuticals. They're going to make you feel good. You'll see things. You'll see into the spirit realm. Do you know how many people do this kind of stuff today so they can tap into the spirit realm and they think that they're actually doing something good? People got these ideas originally from these fallen angels, these messengers. So how do they get these women to allow them to take them as wives? Because the result is, it continues to say, and they became pregnant. The women became pregnant. And they bore great giants to these guys. So there was giants born to them. We just read about giants in Genesis. Jesus says, as in the days of Noah, before he returns, before he comes back, it's going to be like the days of Noah. What went on in the days of Noah? We've got angels that mixed their DNA with people. And that DNA is called messenger, because it's of them, the angels, the angelos, the messengers. Do you understand this, you guys? We'll trade you this, you give us you. And the women are like, what a great deal, right? So then all these men that were on the earth, what did the angels do for men? Chapter 8, verse 1, it says they taught men how to make swords and knives and shields. Men love weapons. Do you know how much weapons sell for today? Men love it. Hey guys, you'll need these weapons to protect yourselves. I mean, look at what Cain did to Abel. He used a weapon. You guys didn't even know. Cain, people like him are going to think like him. They're going to use weapons against you. So these men, we need weapons, right? So why do you think these men gave these angels their women? Here, take them. We get weapons. That's a good trade. So they give them swords. They teach them how to make swords, knives, shields, breastplates, bracelets, and even ornaments as well, which is objects used for magic. Maybe even necklaces, earrings, all that kind of stuff. You know, we got these ideas from these angels, you guys. It's carried on. Do you know what else they taught women? They taught women how to put on makeup. Did you know that? Taught them how to put on makeup, it says. How to paint their faces. The beautifying, it says, the beautifying of eyelids. The beautifying of eyelids. That's like that eye mascara stuff and eyelash stuff, right? They knew how to do all this stuff. So much more, you guys. I could go on and on. I just can't make this video too long. I'll make another video and we'll talk more about what these angels did, speaking of hybriding, because it says that they even sinned against the birds and the beasts and the reptiles and the fish. What did they do? Birds, reptiles, fish, beasts. Maybe that's where you get things like Bigfoot. Maybe that's where you get things like Dogman. Maybe that's where you get things like pterodactyls, T-Rexes, all these things. Perhaps they needed to make things really big. Why? Because it says that there were great giants that were born of these women, and they kept consuming everything. Men couldn't feed them enough food. So what do these giants do? It says in Enoch chapter 7 that they turned against man, devoured mankind, right? And then, well, we don't have any more food left. The men, they gave us all their food, all their animals. So what do? They sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish. Perhaps they're creating big, big creatures. Even fish, maybe that's what a megalodon, giant megalodon, so they can have giant shark meat for their giant kids. Do you know some of their kids, it says, grew to be 3,000 ells high, 3,000 ells. Do you know how much that is? 4,500 feet. And if you think that's ridiculous, well, guess what? Then you can't believe in the Bible, because there's a whole bunch of crazy stuff that goes on in there. A whole bunch of crazy stuff. Where are these bodies today? How come nobody ever discovered them? Well, you try to swim all the way to the Marianas Trench and then dig into the sand even at the bottom of that trench and see what you can find. I don't hear about people doing that. Hey, you want to swim to the Marianas Trench? Yeah, it's really easy. Let's go down there. Do you know how deep that is? See, there's depths in the oceans that people haven't even been able to research yet. So if you think that a 4,500 foot giant, which does sound cuckoo, I know. How is that? I don't know how that's possible, you guys. But we're talking about some crazy DNA thing going on here. So I want to cut this video short. I want to introduce you guys, not to scare you, but to prepare you. Because there's a lot of people talking about what's going on in the world today. And if you haven't figured out how people are going to be deceived by pharmakeia, which is pharmaceuticals, what type of pharmaceuticals are we talking about that the whole world is going to take? Now, back then, the angels, they used tactics. It doesn't sound like they're using fear tactics. It sounded like, well, maybe getting the men to sell out their wives so they can make weapons. Maybe there's some fear tactics. But they also offered the women's pretty things, little diamonds and jewelry and makeup. We'll teach you how to make medicinal things for your boo-boos and for your get-highs. The women are like, yay, and then they give it to the men. The men are like, yay. So they did these trading things, and today they do. Don't think that they don't do trading today. Hey, we'll make you a great singer. We'll make you famous. Hollywood, music industry. You think there's no trades going on now? Why do you think so many people feel like they sold out their souls, right? And then today, what else do they do as far as the pharmaceuticals go? Scare the heck out of everybody so bad so that these wicked men will, money's the root of all evil. Or the love of money, is the root. The love of money. So these men go along with demonic, fallen angel entities to create things that Revelation calls pharmakeia, pharmaceuticals. So these men make money because they love money, and money is the root. Oh, the angels, they taught women about the roots of plants. Well, what is the root of all evil, Jesus says? It's that love of money. It's not money, but it's the love of it, the lusting after it, what it does for these men, right? So they go along with the creation of pharmaceuticals, and let's scare the heck out of everybody so they'll all pay big bucks for them. So the pharmaceutical companies, Big Pharma, can make a fortune because we scared the heck out of everybody, right? We scared everybody. Perhaps they created this problem in the first place so everybody would take their solution. And all the nations, Revelation says, that means all the people throughout all the earth, they get deceived. How did they get deceived? Most likely through fear. We'll do anything to save our lives. And so, I want you to think about that. I want you to think about why people are warning, quit taking stuff that they're offering because they're preparing something and it's going to happen. And it's going to be big time during the tribulation. So many people will have fallen for it, you guys. There's still going to be voices out there. Maybe videos like mine and other people will still be available for people to watch, right? Hopefully we're voices where you can understand, or people in the tribulation can understand, what does he mean by angel DNA? Well, the word angel means messenger, and DNA and RNA, they talk so much about it, and they're trying to get people used to it, and then they did get people to used to it, and then people started taking stuff, and then they started changing. Something changed about people. I'm not saying that they're all going to be a bunch of giants and stuff. They've figured out things for today's world. They know how to manipulate even your genes, your genetics, your DNA. They know how to manipulate their technologies, not just phone technologies and all that, but we're talking about medicinal technologies, pharmaceutical technologies. You guys, there's so much more I want to get into, but I'm going to cut it right here. Okay? So we'll talk more about these things. I'll give the videos different titles, but just something for you to think about. All right? So maybe you haven't heard these things before yet. I know I haven't, but this is something that I believe the Lord has been sharing with me for a little while now, and I wanted to share it with you. So I had to be quiet tonight because I got roommates and they're sleeping in their rooms. So hopefully this video wasn't too loud, and I got to do it in my room. So God bless you all. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.